At a time when we are bombarded by sequels and reboots, we actually get a sequel of a movie that is 20 or 30 years old that is actually good. Blade Runner 2049, directed by Denis Villeneuve, the man that directed Prisoners, Enemy, Arrival, and Sicario. This movie stars Ryan Gosling, Harrison Ford, Dave Bautista, Robin Wright, Sylvia Hoeks, Jared Leto, and Ana de Armas. This movie follows a Blade Runner who is a cop that goes after replicants, older replicants, because the corporation that he works for wants these newer replicants to be the dominant version of this world. And he's trying to solve a mystery about the replicants as well as trying to solve a mystery about himself. The movie stars Ryan Gosling as our main Blade Runner K, going after replicants. And he's also trying to find Harrison Ford's character, Rick Deckard. We have a villain in this movie who also is trying to solve the same mystery, played by Jared Leto, as well as another villain in this movie that's helping out the main villain, played by Sylvia Hoeks. And that's pretty much our movie. Now, I really wanted to see this movie because I love the original Blade Runner. It is an awesome movie that Ridley Scott directed, and Harrison Ford was excellent in that movie. So when I heard that they were going to make a sequel for this movie finally, and it was going to be directed by Denis Villeneuve, the man that directed Arrival, Prisoners, Sicario, and Enemy, I thought that is the perfect man to direct it if you're not going to get Ridley Scott himself to direct it. And Denis does an excellent job with the direction of this movie. The movie looks spectacular, and Ryan Gosling does an amazing job playing the main character, Kay. You have Ana de Armas, who plays his love interest in the movie. I thought she was great in the film. Harrison Ford is really good in this movie as his character, Rick Deckard, who was the Blade Runner from the first movie, the cop that hunted replicants in the first movie. And then you have Robin Wright, who plays Ryan Gosling's superior in the movie. And I thought she was great in this film as well. Jared Leto plays the villain. I thought he was actually pretty good as the villain in this movie. But Sylvia Hoeks is an even better villain in this movie. She really is probably one of the best female villains I've ever seen. And then you have Dave Bautista, who doesn't get that much screen time in the movie, but what he gives within that small amount of screen time is great. Edward James Olmos does show up in the movie, and I thought he was very good with what small little screen time he got in the film. Just the whole cast I thought was great in the movie, and the visuals within this movie was awesome. Some of the best visual effects I've ever seen from a science fiction movie. The cinematography within this movie is awesome. I love the cinematography in this film. The technology that they show within this movie, the futuristic technology, is done very well, and it does a really good job paying homage to the first Blade Runner. The question of whether or not you have to see the first Blade Runner movie in order to appreciate this one, I do think you have to, because you may be a little bit confused with some plot points, but this is such a great movie to do a good job just standing on its own, and it is its own self-contained story. It's not a movie that's going to need future sequels in order to explain what's happening. This movie you can just figure out what you want from this movie just by watching this movie in itself, and maybe watching the first one over and over again, because that's pretty much all you need, really. This movie's not trying to start a whole new franchise, thankfully, because I don't like that. This movie's just a self-contained story, which is awesome. And there are a lot of unopened questions, like there should be with a Blade Runner movie, and that is great. This is a movie that makes you want to think, and I like the questions that this movie makes you want to ask in regards to replicants, in regards to human beings in general, just like with the first one. And the acting in this movie is great from everybody in the cast, whether it's Ryan Gosling, Robin Wright, Harrison Ford, Dave Bautista, Jared Leto, and Sylvia Hoeks, and Ana de Armas. Everybody does a great job within this film. And the direction is excellent, so there's really very little wrong with this movie. Really, the only thing wrong is the movie does feel a little bit long at times, but it is a really good movie and definitely worth checking out. So the one little flaw doesn't really matter to me and doesn't really hurt the grade. So I'm going to give this movie an A+. It is a movie that is actually as good as the first movie. That is just awesome. A sequel that is actually as good as the first movie that took so long to come out. That is just amazing. So definitely check out Blade Runner 2049.